So here's our bad chine. It has Bondo and stuff on it, and when I looked at this boat the first time, water came out of it, which made me think it was through, but I'm not certain of that. I do have to repair it pretty well all the way back and even over the back. So in order to accomplish that and maybe make it just one big repair and add glass rather than just scraping away the Bondo and sort of filling it and adding gel, I'd like to add some layers of fiberglass to that. I'd like these rollers out of my way, and in order to accomplish that, there's a nice flat spot here, and on the corner it's very structurally sound. I've got a jack and some wood, and I'm just going to lift this up high enough to where I can get those rollers out of my way. You don't have to go up too far, they're already hanging. So now I can just take this bolt out and pull those rollers out of my way and really work this Chine Repairs so it can come all the way back, and I can fix this as well. The rest of the hull is really good. The keel is really good. There's no other damage to the hull except the front. There is a ding in the chine on this side. And this isn't nearly so bad. It's not been filled with Bondo and crap, but you can see the mesh glass showing, and well, I need to fix that. So that one I don't need to lift the boat up or get anything out of my way to get at. No big deal. We'll do that separately. Everything else is good. You know, the keel has been repaired here once and looks like it was done reasonably well, and I didn't feel any soft spots or any call for concern, and the rest of it's just dirty. So we'll fix up the main repair on the chine on the port side and then get after this one, which isn't too bad. Now before I go crawling around under there and move the rollers and start grinding under the boat, I'm not necessarily just going to trust my jack. I've got a 4x4 that I've used to bring the bow of various boats up and block things. So since we have this nice flat area and an edge, I'm going to put the 4x4 in between the trailer and that area and maybe block it up a little bit just to make sure that if something did happen and it were to fall while I was under there, I'm not going to get my hand pinched between this and a boat or something terrible like that. Both of these rollers are just attached to this one part of the trailer frame here, and I decided that I could get more stuff out of my way and make this easier just by taking off these U-bolts. So I'll remove those. A little bit of penetrating oil. Make sure I don't break the bolts. And they should come right out of there. Couple important things. Wear a respirator. Fiberglass and gel coat dust is bad for you, and you're going to be underneath there curling around, and it's going to cover me really. And some safety glasses. I've just got a battery grinder here with a 40 grit flap disc on it. I'm going to start grinding and shaping so I can lay up some glass. Figure I'll start on the back here where it's easiest to reach and kind of see how this is going to go and how much shaping and how much fiberglass I'm going to have to add, and then get to the front part there and see how deep she really is, and we'll just go from there. So there we've got a good start, and I'll of course do some sanding before I start filling this. The goal is to get away all of the compromised fiberglass and be down to bare fiberglass, no more Bondo or anything, which is why I hit this part. There's Bondo sitting on it. And sort of dish it out so it's deeper in the center and it kind of comes out like that. It'll be much easier to build up this center in my glass and have it be flat and smooth in the end. I got a little bit distracted from my old C right here, but we're getting back after it. And I got this repair all ground and sanded out. And then what I did is filled it with thickened resin as best I could to shape it. And while that was not quite cured and still a little loose, I put a layer of 1808 over the main part here. And towards the back I only used thickened resin, and don't really want to crawl under there to show you, but my 1808 goes back just past this primary repair. So next on that, I'm going to take a bit more thickened resin just to kind of try to shape it better. I know the camera doesn't pick it up super great, but it has some low spots like here. So I'm going to get a little bit of thickened resin mixed and fill those and try to shape it a little better before I sand this into shape and shoot some gel over it. Obviously I sanded out a long ways and I'll tape and shoot gel out to there. This is resin from fiberglass that went over. I've got the big chine repair done on this side. All the way from this front roller here to the back, reglassed and sprayed in gel. Upon further inspection, however, of the entire hull of this boat, I found that I'm going to need to do some repairs on the back near the bottom, eliminate this transducer thing, and I found one other nasty spot. It was underneath this roller, and that is into the glass. Now up inside, it's still solid, but this is going to have to get ground out, re-glassed, and re-gelled. It's also a nice dinger right there that we'll take care of while we're at it. So I've got this side of the boat up and the rollers off the back here. Well, I will work that repair, grind it down, and redo it at the same time as I get the front part of this chine fixed. Same deal, grind it down, add some glass, squirt some gel on it, sand it, sand it. Then the whole of this will be all repaired and I can move right along. We've repaired this chine from just behind this roller all the way to the back of the boat. Came out nice. You'll notice a lot of plastic around. That's because I found a whole bunch of other sweet repairs to do, like that one that I ground out and put fiberglass in, and I've done the same thing to some other spots, like right there, and in the back, and the one we already knew about on the other side. But I kind of thought, as long as I'm taking it this far, we'll make the whole bottom tight and right. So I ground out the bubbles and cracks and pockets and added some fresh fiberglass and then sanded it to about the right shape. And I've got it all plastic and taped off so that I can shoot some fresh gel on it. Back here, I would have never known about this one because this was right under a roller. and it was actually cracked through the glass ways. Now I've got quite a bit of glass. I've got a layer of 1808 over top of some thickened resin, but that's right where the roller sits, and it was popped through pretty good. And then there was a pocket there, so I ground all that out and added glass, and when I do the back repairs, I'll kind of take it over maybe, you know, a little further. But for now I need to get all of this gelled up, and I'm hoping that I can do all 5 of these spots in one shot. So I'm going to color match the gel and then mix it with my MEK and just start spraying. And this is not a hole, this is all smooth. There's glass over top of all of this. Right here is probably thickened resin only, because after sanding the first time, when I put a layer of 1808 on, I ground through a little bit with the sander, so it looks a little different, but we're in really good shape with the fiberglass. And with any luck, I mix up about 8 ounces of gel and spray it, then spray it again, and I can get all of them done in 2 shots, sand that gel down, and have the bottom of this boat done so I can get on to the rest. Alright, we've taken our bright white gel coat and a little bit of yellow oxide pigment and barely the toothpick head of some red oxide pigment, and mix it in to this cup to get our color. Now I started in 2 cups and kept playing with it until I got it to where it needs to be. So I polished this little spot on the bow of this boat. See if we can see what I'm talking about here. Just so I could see the color that it's meant to be. On the left here is the bright white gel coat as it comes out of the can. And on the right is after I've added pigment until I'm happy with the color of it. Now I've got just about a pint, maybe a little bit less. Should be way more than enough to do my 2 sprays on the bottom. I'll mix that in the cup for my gun. Now I use this 3M PPS system with disposable liners so I can shoot upside down and whatnot. But I'll mix it 30% with this patch aid, and then 2% with some MEKP to harden it. And with any luck, I can shoot all 5 repairs in one go with less than half of this, then do it again with some more of it, and then maybe even save the rest of that for some of the little bits of dabbing I have to do on the outside of this boat after I clean it up. Plus, I know I have to fix this and this. Let's see what we can do. I don't think I'll be able to film it, but that's where we're at. I'll show you what happens next. One full minute mixing the patch aid. Then we'll add the MEKP and mix for another full minute. Put it on the gun, and it's a race to spray it all. goodness there's not a great big hole underneath there. That's kind of nice. This will be the biggest one to actually have to dish out and lay up some matting in. The rest of this should be pretty easy. It's time to do the final fiberglass repairs on this boat. All the various holes that have been drilled through it for things we don't want on the boat. And I've got them all dished out, ground, sanded, and sort of prepped on the outside. Now I need to get a nice full repair in here. And doing it two-sided is very difficult. We'll do as best we can, but really I'm going to start with thickened resin to fill everything and then get a piece of glass over the larger ones at least so that I can sand down and then spray some gel over. In order to accomplish that, I need to get a piece of tape on the back sides of this so I can get my thickened resin in there. Now, it's possible on some of these that I could sort of sand the area down and get a piece of fiberglass on there. But in some cases like this, there's this piece of wood. And it's only there to have something to screw these zip ties to keep our wires out of the way. Now, that's in my way. So I'm going to unscrew this zip tie and just remove a bit of this wood here so that it's not in my way, and put a piece of tape there and start with thickened resin to create, I guess, what I would call like an ocean floor for my fiberglass repair. And once all said and done, maybe I'll put a piece of matting on the inside, but I think I can accomplish this really well with thickened resin first and a piece of glass over the outside and gel coat. So I was cleaning up all these repairs with some compressed air and acetone and making sure there was no silicone left in any of the holes, and I had done a good job. And down here I found that these were actually old holes filled with some sort of body filler. Just horrible. So I gouged it all out of there. Now I've got a little bit more grinding to do. And then we'll go ahead and finish sanding and cleaning up all of the repair areas before we start applying the thickened resin and the fiberglass matting. We've got all the repairs, the holes filled with thickened resin, and a layer of 18 weight and fiberglass over the top. All done with vinyl ester resin. And I'm taping off so I can spray some gel. We'll do 2 sprays. Once, mostly trying to get these areas filled, and then once kind of an overspray in the whole area. But there's a whole bunch of them, a bunch of plastic I need to apply, and before I can do this whole back, I need to re-drill a few holes that I'm going to reuse that I did cover with fiberglass because they were too near to other holes. So this here is where the speedometer hose is going to come out. I wish this thing would focus a little better. And then there's 2 screw holes that I need to tap out. There was this giant hole here that I filled with resin, and then in my grinding I had to put a piece of glass over this. So now I just have to pop that top layer of glass through those holes. Then down here where the drain plug goes in, I removed the bung and I fixed all this with thickened resin. Then I did put a layer of fiberglass over top of all of this as well, and took my little die grinder and took out the inside, the big hole, but I have to poke my 3 little screw holes back through before I shoot my gel. And then the rest of this just needs to be all plasticed off, and we'll make some sprays. And we can finally be done with composite work on this boat, and that'll feel really good because there's just a little bit of wiring to remove and tidy up, and a cleaning. Cut and buff involved in the cleaning, but really no big deal. So we're getting there. So the color match is real good from a little ways away. It's really not a good repair. All of these repairs are going to be pretty sloppy, but you know, from a little distance it looks nice. And the whole boat's got to get cleaned up and sanded and polished, so we're just not going for perfection. There's enough stuff like this all over the boat, and I'm not gonna fix every tiny little ding. When we wet sand, we'll just kind of get it smooth and it'll look kind of like a dent, but the whole thing will be shiny, and from a bit of a distance, you know, it'll look just fine. Plus there's no more holes in the boat, bull crap like that. And all my repairs are super solid with the fiberglass, so we won't have haloing. And you know what? It's better than holes everywhere. It's just not in the budget to spend so much time on each of these repairs trying to make them perfect. This would be very expensive. And someone brought it to a fiberglass shop to try to have all of this done. You know, giant hole here getting patched, and it's just a lot. So we're not going for perfection. Our color match looked good. I'll sand them all up and show you what it looks like then.